The floor is slick with chemicals, my boots sliding slightly as I step onto the grated metal platform. The air stings my lungs with each breath, heavy with fumes and dust. My body moves mechanically, following the rhythm of the machines around me. The whirring gears and hissing valves, creating a constant hum that drowns out all else. My hands grip the handlebars of the conveyor belt controller, fingers numb from the cold metal. The belt stretches endlessly before me, carrying parts and materials to their next stage in the assembly line. Each piece slides past with precision, but I can feel the weight of my own fatigue pressing down on me. A red warning light flickers above my head, signaling a malfunction somewhere deeper in the factory. It's just another signal among many, part of the constant noise that dictates my existence here. The heat from the machinery radiates through the thin fabric of my uniform, making sweat bead along my brow despite the chill air conditioning. My eyes drift to the next station where workers are hunched over, their movements quick and efficient, but strained. I know they won't last much longer. Bodies break down under this relentless pace, yet there is no time for thought or feeling, only action. The conveyor belt jerks forward again, pulling a large metal component towards me. My hands move to secure it in place, fingers brushing against rough edges that cut into my skin. Blood seeps through the cracks of my gloves. Another small price paid for survival here. I check the gauges on my console, fingers already knowing which buttons to press. The screen flickers with red and green warnings, a constant backdrop to my routine. My eyes scan the data feed, identifying anomalies that need immediate attention. I adjust pressure valves, fine-tuning them according to protocol. Each movement is precise, practiced until it taunts second nature. A siren blares, but I do not flinch. These sounds are part of the daily din. I glance at my colleague across the room, their face a mask of concentration as they perform their own tasks. We exchange brief nods, confirming we've seen each other without words needed. I insert a chip into my console to update system diagnostics. The device clicks, reassuringly, in place. My skin prickles where it connects, but I ignore the sensation. The air is thick with chemicals and I breathe through my mouth to avoid the acrid smell. Sweat trickles down my back despite the chill from the overhead vents. My hands move methodically, following the checklist laid out before me. Each step is crucial, a link in an unbreakable chain. I do not think about why or how. I just do what needs doing. The room spins with activity around me, but I stay anchored to my station. I reach for a tool from my belt and begin tightening bolts on the machinery beside me. My fingers ache slightly, another reminder of the toll this place takes, but there is no time for discomfort. Each task is a piece of myself, fitting perfectly into the larger puzzle that keeps everything running. The door opens, admitting another worker with a stack of papers. We exchange a brief look and continue our separate duties without further interaction. I review the new documents quickly, marking them as completed before returning to my console. The air hums with the sound of machinery working around the clock. I am here because this function is being performed. The hum of machinery never ceases. It taunts a constant undercurrent in my ears, a persistent reminder of the relentless work around me. The rhythmic whirring is loud at first, each cycle sending vibrations through the floor and into my feet. I can feel it pulsating against my skin, an unwelcome presence that I try to ignore. As I move from one station to another, the hum follows closely behind, a shadow of sound clinging to me, like static cling on a cold day. My fingers grip the metal edges of machinery, feeling their coolness and hardness beneath my touch. The sensation is sharp, but fades with each passing second as I focus on more immediate tasks. The machinery continues its relentless cycle, but now it taunts just part of the fabric of this place. It no longer demands attention. Instead, it blends into the background noise, like a steady heartbeat that one stops noticing after a while. My mind begins to process other details. The slight chemical burn in my nostrils from the air filtration system, the metallic taste lingering on my tongue. Each hum is less intrusive than before, more like a distant echo rather than an immediate intrusion. I no longer register it as a distinct sound, but feel its presence only faintly, like a whisper that barely reaches my ears. The mechanical rhythm becomes a backdrop for my thoughts and actions, allowing me to concentrate on other pressing details without disturbance. The air remains thick with the scent of chemicals, and each breath feels slightly harder, yet I move forward without pause or hesitation. Each step brings another hum, but it haunts now just a faint reminder of this place's ceaseless motion, lost in the symphony of constant activity around me. The room buzzes with the mechanical rhythm of our movements. I move in unison with those around me, my actions blending seamlessly into a larger choreography. Each person becomes a part of this intricate dance. Their presence felt more as an extension of the work rather than individual beings. I notice the way shadows flicker across faces and hands, forming patterns that shift and merge. The air is thick with the scent of chemicals, but my attention drifts to the precise timing of our steps and gestures. We move like gears in a machine, each piece fitting perfectly into its place without need for words or acknowledgement. My fingers grip the metal bars with practiced ease as I pull them through the assembly line. The cold surface is familiar under my touch, the friction both comforting and demanding. Each task flows into the next, a seamless continuity that requires no conscious thought. The constant hum of machinery fades further into background noise, replaced by the steady clatter of equipment and the occasional hiss of valves opening and closing. My awareness narrows to focus on these sounds, each one marking another step in our collective process. We form a fluid chain, passing items from hand to hand with exact timing. There is no need for eye contact or verbal cues, or movements are synchronized by years of repetition. Each person is just another link in the chain, their presence felt but not remarked upon. The sensation of fatigue still lingers, but it blends into the routine like a well-worn groove. The physical demands become less noticeable as my body adapts to this relentless cycle. Sweat trickles down my back, mingling with the chill air, yet I barely register its presence. I continue my tasks without pause or distraction. Each movement is part of a larger whole, contributing to an unbroken sequence that stretches into infinity. My role here feels interchangeable, but there is no sense of loss or isolation. Only the continuous flow of work and motion. The hum of machinery fills the air, a constant drone that I barely register anymore. My hands move with practiced precision as I tighten bolts and adjust settings on the control panel. The red warning lights flicker incessantly, but they are part of the scenery now, just like the chemical smells that sting my nose or the metallic taste in my mouth. My colleagues move around me, their movements fluid and efficient. We work side by side without much conversation, each focused on our own tasks. The cold air nips at my skin, making my breath visible in small clouds, but I am used to it. My fingers are numb from gripping the metal tools, but they still function with a steady rhythm. I check another gauge and make the necessary adjustments, watching the numbers stabilize. This is what we do here, day after day. The routine is familiar, and my mind drifts away from the physical discomfort, focusing instead on the sound of clattering machinery and the rhythmic hiss of chemical pumps. Each step feels automatic, each task a part of an unending cycle. I move forward without hesitation, my body adapting to the relentless pace. There is no need for thought or emotion, only action. The environment is harsh, but predictable, and I have learned to tolerate it. As I finish one task and begin another, there is a sense of calm in the familiarity. This is enough. Nothing feels out of place or unresolved. The routine continues seamlessly, each moment blending into the next without question. The constant hum of machinery and the red warning lights have become a part of my daily rhythm, blending into the background noise. Each task I perform is an essential component of the larger system that keeps everything in motion. The air here carries with it a chemical sting that initially made breathing difficult, but now it is just another element to be acknowledged rather than resisted. The coldness and relentless pace are not arbitrary. They serve a purpose. My hands, though numb from gripping metal controls, operate with precision and efficiency. Each movement is calibrated to maintain the delicate balance required for operational readiness. The environment demands this level of rigor because anything less would result in instability. Pain and discomfort, while noticeable, do not interfere with my focus on maintaining critical thresholds. My colleagues move around me like parts of a well-oiled machine. We are interconnected but independent, each contributing to the larger framework without the need for emotional attachment or personal connection. The relentless noise is a constant reminder of our collective purpose, to ensure that every component functions as intended, even when it feels like an oppressive burden. The chemical smells and metallic tastes fade into sensory background, allowing me to concentrate on the intricate timing and sound patterns necessary for optimal performance. Each step forward is automatic, driven by necessity rather than personal choice. The environmental's harshness is not a reflection of malice, but a response to conditions that demand strict adherence to operational protocols. In this system, there are no heroes or villains, only roles that must be fulfilled. My actions contribute to the stability and functionality required for everything else to proceed smoothly. Detachment from emotional involvement prevents inefficiency caused by unnecessary distractions. The relentless pace and physical demands are not punitive measures, but essential variables in maintaining equilibrium. This works because it has to. Without strictness and impersonality, there would be chaos. The system functions as it must to ensure that every part operates within its designated parameters. The numbers align in my mind, each variable a precise point on an endless graph. The environment's demands become mere data points to be analyzed and adjusted for optimal performance. Temperature fluctuations are recalibrated internally, ensuring that physical discomfort does not register beyond the capacity limits set by operational necessity. Each breath, each step, is a calculation, a balance of intake against expenditure. The interactions with others are reduced to transactional exchanges, resources exchanged for resources, outputs balanced against inputs. The efficiency of these transactions defines their value, not any personal connection or emotional weight. Every individual becomes a component in the larger system, contributing to its stability and functionality by adhering strictly to protocols and standards. Discomfort is measured and quantified. It ceases to be an experience, but rather a margin that must be managed within acceptable parameters. The pain of physical strain is irrelevant if it does not exceed predefined limits necessary for sustained operation. Each sensation is converted into data, processed, and adjusted until equilibrium is achieved. The relentless pace of the system feels oppressive only because resistance would introduce inefficiency. Instead, I adapt, recalibrating my responses to align with the demands placed upon me. The rigid structure, once a source of discomfort, now serves as a framework for optimal performance. Emotions are noise, interfering signals that must be filtered out for clear communication and accurate processing. Living beings around me are assessed through their contributions and efficiency levels. How? Well, they meet operational criteria, how effectively they sustain the system. The numbers tell the story: capacity margins, output rates, error tolerances. Nothing personal here, only variables and constants in a vast equation that must be solved for equilibrium. In this way, detachment is not an emotional stance, but a logical imperative. It ensures that each decision is made with clarity and precision, without interference from inefficiencies, like fear or regret. The world does not need justification, it needs function, and I am merely one part of the intricate machine that keeps it running. The relentless pressure of the environment is a constant presence, its weight bearing down on me with each passing moment. The air feels thick and heavy, laden with an oppressive humidity that clings to my skin, dampening every movement. My muscles ache from the unrelenting strain of daily exertion. Yet, they respond without hesitation, driven by necessity rather than will. Each breath is a measured intake, a calculated release. Oxygen flows in through constricted pathways, filling my lungs with just enough to sustain this relentless pace. The rhythm of my heart matches the cadence of my steps, each beat a silent reminder that I am here, functioning, enduring. The ground beneath me shifts and groans underfoot, an ever-present tremor that speaks of underlying instability. Yet it is familiar now, a consistent backdrop against which I measure my progress. Each step taken is a reaffirmation of my purpose. Each slight adjustment in balance, a testament to my adaptability. My vision narrows, focusing on the task at hand, while peripheral details blur into insignificance. The world around me fades into a series of functional elements, obstacles to navigate, allies to coordinate with, threats to neutralize. Every interaction is stripped down to its essentials, devoid of emotional clutter or personal sentiment. The discomfort of my surroundings serves as a constant reminder of the stakes involved. Each bead of sweat that forms on my brow is evidence of effort expended, each droplet evaporating into the air, a symbol of progress made. This relentless cycle is not something to be feared or resisted, but embraced as an integral part of the system's operation. The pressure continues unabated, intensifying with every passing hour. Yet, it is this very strain that I rely upon to keep me sharp and focused. The body's responses are predictable. It signals clear indicators of performance thresholds being met and exceeded. This is not a burden, but an affirmation, a confirmation that the system functions as intended, sustained by the collective effort of countless components operating in harmony. In this world, stress is synonymous with efficiency, discomfort a sign of productivity. Each challenge faced and overcome reinforces the necessity of the framework within which we operate. The relentless pace may wear on the body, but it sharpens the mind, ensuring that every action aligns with operational criteria without interference from emotional noise. And so I continue, moving through this harsh environment with mechanical precision, my movements a seamless blend of instinct and calculation. Each moment is a testament to the system's resilience, each struggle an affirmation of its enduring strength. As I move through the training grounds, every muscle in my body works in perfect harmony. The routine is familiar, each step and swing of my weapon meticulously calibrated for efficiency. Despite the relentless pace, there's a part of me that briefly questions if this endless cycle serves any true purpose beyond its immediate function. Yet, such thoughts are merely a momentary distraction, an inefficiency to be corrected. I acknowledge the doubt as it arises, a flicker in the otherwise clear data stream, but I do not allow it to disrupt my focus. This system exists for a reason, and questioning its necessity is unproductive. Each drill, each combat simulation, each grueling run serves to maintain our readiness. Without this constant rigor, we would be vulnerable. The training grounds are no place for sentimentality or introspection. Every moment of hesitation must be eliminated. If the system is to function at peak efficiency, I correct myself internally, reaffirming that these protocols exist because they are essential. They ensure adaptability and strength in an environment where stability is fleeting and threats are ever present. The doubt dissipates as quickly as it appeared, leaving behind a renewed sense of clarity and purpose. The system needs my full commitment, not my questioning mind. I continue with the precision and detachment that have become second nature, ensuring every action aligns perfectly with our operational criteria. The environmental's relentless pressure is now merely a constant variable, one I manage with the same precision as any other operational constraint. Each breath and step are calibrated for maximum efficiency, devoid of emotional interference or unnecessary cognitive load. Interactions with others flow like well-oiled machinery, transactional yet essential to maintaining the system's equilibrium. Detachment is not a choice, but a necessity. Emotions are inefficiencies that must be filtered out, leaving only data points and operational criteria. The rigidity of protocols serves as a framework for optimal performance, ensuring every action aligns with predetermined parameters without deviation. Physical discomfort is merely another data point to be managed within set limits, each sensation an indicator of effort rather than distress. The pressure of the environment sharpens my focus, reinforcing the necessity of my framework. Each challenge faced is an affirmation of collective strength and resilience. The harsh conditions serve as a backdrop for measuring progress and adaptability, ensuring that every action contributes to stability and order. Vision narrows to essentials, stripping interactions of emotional clutter and reducing them to their functional core. Fleeting doubts are acknowledged, but swiftly dismissed, resolved through the clarity of logic. Any internal friction is dissolved into correctness, leaving no room for unnecessary introspection or moral questioning. The system functions because it must, and my adherence to its protocols ensures optimal performance without wasteful emotional noise. In this framework, everything adds up. There is no lingering uncertainty, no room for doubt or hesitation. Each challenge faced is an opportunity to reaffirm the necessity of strict protocols and rigid structure. Emotions are seen as a distraction, something to be filtered out entirely. The environmental's instability serves as a constant reminder of the system's resilience, reinforcing its operational criteria. Thus, I am settled, not relieved, but resolved. The framework ensures that every action is aligned with operational necessities, maintaining order and stability without emotional interference or moral struggle. This is how it must be, and there is no need for further argument. The air grows thick with the scent of smoke as another skirmish ignites nearby. My senses sharpen immediately, my heart rate adjusting to the heightened alertness required for combat readiness. I move through the narrow passages of the rift without thought, aware that every step brings me closer to the next engagement. The discomfort from recent battles is a distant memory. It fades into insignificance as I focus on the task at hand. As I approach the battlefield, my body instinctively shifts into defensive posture. The armor plates lock into place, providing an immediate sense of protection. Mahano. My eyes scan the area for any sign of enemy movement, and my fingers tighten around the hilt of my weapon. This is not a conscious decision. It's simply what must be done. An ally appears beside me, their presence signaling coordinated action. Dore. We exchange brief nods, our understanding instantaneous. I move into position without hesitation, my movements fluid and precise. The system dictates these actions, making them feel as natural as breathing. There is no room for deviation or questioning. Every response is pre-programmed to ensure optimal performance. The first attack comes from an unseen direction, a blur of movement that would have been dangerous moments ago, but now registers only as data to be processed and countered. My weapon strikes with surgical precision, the impact delivering exactly what was required. Each action follows seamlessly, one triggering another in an unbroken chain of efficiency. Between engagements, my gaze flickers across the battlefield, assessing allies and enemies alike. The environment is a complex matrix of threats and opportunities, each element contributing to the overall strategy. My breaths remain steady despite the chaos around me. They are regulated by necessity rather than fear or excitement. As the skirmish begins to wind down, I transition into recovery mode without delay. Supplies are restocked automatically, injuries assessed and treated with practiced care. This is not a moment of reflection, but a continuation of the cycle and prepare for the next encounter. The system ensures that no downtime is wasted. Every moment serves a purpose. My path leads me back to the designated rally point, where I join other team members in strategic discussions. Words flow between us with clarity, each participant contributing data points essential for the group's success. My role is clear and defined, my actions aligning perfectly with expectations, without any need for internal debate or doubt. The cycle repeats endlessly. Engage, recover, strategize, repeat. Each phase transitions smoothly into the next, driven by an unyielding sense of purpose. While the framework within which I operate feels not as a constraint, but as a path to greater efficiency and effectiveness. Every challenge faced is met with unwavering resolve, each victory affirming the necessity and correctness of my adherence. This is how things simply are. This is how they must be. The skirmish concludes. Enemy structures crumble, resources secured. Each engagement resolved with precision, efficiency maintained throughout. Casualties noted but processed as data points rather than events of consequence. Operations complete. The field clears. Status updated, roles adjusted for next phase. Wow. The cycle continues without pause or reflection. As I move through the battlefield, my path is clear and unwavering. The terrain itself guides me, marking safe zones and danger spots with subtle cues that are second nature to read. My movements align perfectly with the directives of those above, without question or hesitation. Orders flow down like a river, and compliance moves up effortlessly in response. There was no sense of hierarchy as a barrier. It simply exists, a natural order of things. Positions dictate visibility, access, and authority. I am not conscious of asking for permission to act. The space around me allows certain actions based on my role within the system. The environment itself seems to open doors for those in charge, while closing them off for others. Leadership is a permeable structure that adapts fluidly, each layer moving seamlessly into place as needed. In this moment, I am part of a larger machine. My actions are pieces fitting perfectly into a puzzle that has no need for individual recognition. The system functions smoothly because everyone understands their place and purpose. There is an unspoken understanding that some paths simply open to those in command, while others remain closed off by design. This is not seen as restrictive, but rather as a necessary framework ensuring efficiency and order. The battlefield churns with chaos, yet my actions feel controlled and precise. I am a cog in the machine, functioning without friction or resistance. Every decision feels inherently correct, dictated by the structure of things. The hierarchy is felt more than seen, its logic embedded deep within the fabric of operations. There is no room for personal ambition or desire here. Eton's all about fulfilling the role assigned to me. This is not a matter of pride or resentment. Eton's simply what must be done. No, the system does not need justification, because it feels like how things are supposed to work. Each layer of command and authority is accepted as natural, a part of the environment itself. Casualties on either side register with clinical detachment. Losses are noted but carry no emotional weight. They are merely data points in an ongoing sequence. The system processes them efficiently, moving forward without pause or delay. As I continue my duties, there is a sense of continuity and purpose. Each action is a step in a grander plan that does not require questioning or justification. I am a part of something larger than myself, functioning within parameters that feel both inevitable and necessary. The system operates as it should, with no room for deviation. This is simply how things are. As I move through the battlefield, my mind remains focused on the task at hand. Wow, the environment feels familiar, the roles clear. My actions are a series of well-rehearsed movements, each step leading to the next with precision and purpose. A momentary hesitation arises, a subtle anomaly in the usual rhythm. It's as if for an instant there is a flicker of uncertainty or doubt, but it passes almost immediately. The anomaly is minor, barely noticeable, yet it registers within my system. My mind adjusts, recalibrating to ensure that no deviation from the established norm occurs. The adjustment feels routine and procedural, like resetting a malfunctioning circuit. Now, there's an internal dialogue, not in words, but in the form of signals and checks. Each part of me aligns with the whole again, ensuring cohesion and efficiency. The anomaly is resolved without any emotional disturbance or questioning, simply corrected through the inherent mechanisms that keep everything functioning smoothly. I continue on, my movements unwavering, my focus unbroken. The system around me remains intact, guiding me seamlessly as I fulfill my role. The battlefield shifts beneath my feet, each step a measured continuation of the previous. I move through the chaos with a steady, unwavering purpose. The world around me is a blur of colors and sounds, yet everything falls into place as if orchestrated by an unseen hand. My actions are not choices but necessities, driven by a deep-seated understanding that this is simply how things must be. Casualties on either side are noted with clinical precision. Now, a fellow soldier collapses nearby, their armor clattering to the ground. I pause briefly, assessing the situation, and then resume my path without hesitation. There is no room for sentimentality. Each life lost is a part of the greater operational reality. The system ensures that roles are filled, responsibilities fulfilled. As I navigate through the fray, my movements become increasingly fluid, almost automatic. My senses sharpen, filtering out unnecessary stimuli to maintain focus on the task at hand. A spell flies towards me, and I deflect it with practiced ease. There was no surprise or fear, only a routine response that ensures survival and continuity of function. My thoughts are singularly focused, devoid of any distractions or deviations. The concept of an alternative path does not surface. There is only this moment, this task, this purpose. Each breath, each step, each spell cast aligns perfectly with the predetermined structure. The environment around me guides my actions seamlessly, like a well-oiled machine where every part functions in harmony. My role within it feels as natural and necessary as breathing itself. There was no questioning or introspection, only an unshakable belief that this is how things must be. As I continue forward, the clarity of purpose remains undisturbed. The world around me may change, but my path does not waver. This is simply how it is, and there can be no other way, because no other way exists within my understanding. I did. The battlefield is a blur of colors and sounds, yet my movements are precise. I sense the enemy's approach from the corner of my eye and pivot to face them. Well, the first combatant falls with a familiar thud, his life force dissipating into the air around us. My focus narrows as another target emerges. This time, there is an unusual hesitation before I strike. It feels like a momentary glitch in the system, but it passes quickly, and I continue without pause. A healing potion is consumed reflexively after taking damage from a spell. The familiar warmth spreads through me, but there is a slight delay in its effectiveness. This time, my health stabilizes just moments later than usual. It does not cause concern. Instead, it feels like the potion took an extra heartbeat to activate. The objective looms ahead, structure waiting to be seized or defended. My path is clear and direct, but this time there is a detour around fallen allies that seems unnecessary. I bypass them without hesitation, moving towards the target with renewed urgency. It sounds as if the fallen are no longer part of my immediate concern. The map updates with new information. Enemy movements, allied positions. This data guides me efficiently, but there's an unexpected delay in processing it. The coordinates seem to shift slightly, and I adjust accordingly without question. It feels like a natural recalibration rather than a glitch. Returning to base for items, the usual route is different this time. There are more obstacles, but I navigate them with ease. The sense of routine remains unbroken. Each deviation feels like an expected variation, rather than a deviation from protocol. The rhythm of combat continues, and I move through it with mechanical precision. Each engagement feels slightly off, yet undeniably correct in its execution. The environment guides me seamlessly, and my actions adapt effortlessly to the shifting conditions. There is no sense of fragmentation or inconsistency. Instead, each variation feels like a normal part of the cycle. Moving toward the objective, my focus sharpens. A sudden chill runs down my spine. Something feels off, but I keep going without pause. The urgency remains constant, pulling me forward. My fingers tighten around my weapon as I approach the next combat zone. There is a fleeting sense of dread, like an echo in a distant memory, but it does not slow me. I enter the fray with practiced ease. Each strike feels familiar and necessary. A surge of adrenaline spikes briefly out, perhaps from seeing fallen allies or anticipating the next attack, but it fades as quickly as it comes. My movements are fluid, my responses immediate. The battle rages around me, but I remain centered. A wave of exhaustion washes over me mid-combat, yet my actions do not falter. Each step and swing is automatic, driven by a relentless drive to succeed. A flicker of despair might touch the edges of my thoughts, but it's gone as soon as it arrives. My eyes scan for weaknesses in enemy formations, my mind calculating angles and timing with cold precision. Exiting the conflict zone, I move toward recovery points without hesitation. The sense of relief is there, quiet satisfaction at surviving another engagement, but it does not linger. My routine continues unbroken, healing, rearming, regrouping. Emotions pass through me like wind across a barren field, no impact, no residue. The cycle repeats with unwavering efficiency. Each phase feels distinct yet connected. Zaun. The urgency remains constant, the emotions fleeting and inconsequential. Navigating through the battlefield is instinctual. Shadows loom, and I sense movement. Me presence draws attention, but it's expected. Engaging an enemy feels natural. Reflexes guide the sword's arc with practiced precision. Blood splatters across my armor, yet this moment merges into others seamlessly. A chill runs down my spine, a fleeting shiver that does not linger. It's followed by a sense of urgency, driving me toward objectives with relentless focus. Fallen allies are part of the landscape. Their absence registers, but isn't a disruption. Unending. My path shifts around bodies and debris without thought. Each obstacle is simply another step in the routine. Combat flows like water against stone. Adrenaline spikes briefly, then fades as I adapt to new threats. Each swing of my weapon feels weighted, precise, necessary. The rhythm of battle is familiar. Each clash echoes through a chain of similar encounters. Despair flickers but vanishes, replaced by an unyielding drive. Movement toward the next objective feels like Danhorjianvua, a sense that this path has been trodden before. Urgency propels me forward without pause. Shadows shift around me, and I navigate them with practiced ease. Each step is a calculation, each action a response to necessity. Fatigue creeps in but doesn't halt progress. Calculations remain coldly precise. My mind adjusts for weariness as if it were another variable. Relief washes over briefly after clearing an area of enemies, yet dissipates quickly. Routine resumes without delay or hesitation. A sense of purpose guides me through the chaos. Each task completed is a piece in a larger puzzle. Even if the whole isn't visible, emotions traverse like wind across my mind. They touch, but do not linger. Urgency and dread intermingle without conflict, each moment blending into the next fluidly. The battlefield remains relentless, yet my steps are measured. Each action, a fragment of a greater function. Movement through the battlefield becomes more fluid as I switch into a support role. My stance shifts to one of readiness, hands hovering over healing spells and shields. The urgency drops slightly, replaced by a sense of anticipation for allies in need. Each step is deliberate, eyes scanning for teammates who require aid or protection. The chill of dread that had been present moments ago fades away as I focus entirely on the task at hand. My breathing slows, aligning with the rhythm of my heart and the calculated pace of my steps. The battlefield's chaos becomes a backdrop to this new mission. Watchful eyes and steady hands, ensuring no ally falls behind. As soon as an opportunity arises, I dart forward, weaving through the fray with ease. Healing spells flow from me like water, replenishing health bars and restoring vitality. Each successful heal brings a brief moment of relief and satisfaction, yet it vanishes instantly upon completion. The next priority appears almost immediately. pulling my focus back to the demands of the battlefield. My movements are swift and efficient, adapting seamlessly between combat support and defensive positioning. There is no hesitation or confusion. Each action feels like a natural progression rather than a switch in roles. I move with purpose, reacting to threats and opportunities without pause. The sense of urgency returns as I transition back into an offensive mindset, posture shifting once again to that of an attacker. Hands grip weapons firmly, eyes narrowing on targets ahead. The detachment from fallen allies is replaced by a sharp focus on objectives. Destroying structures and securing kills become paramount. Each switch feels like loading a new set of instructions, rather than a transformation of self. Actions adapt fluidly, driven solely by the demands of the moment. The battlefield remains chaotic, yet my movements are precise and unyielding, guided by an internal rhythm that knows no fatigue or fear. I move through the battlefield, my feet steady and sure on the ground beneath me. Every step is calculated, every action measured. My focus is unwavering as I weave between allies and enemies alike, dodging projectiles with practiced ease. The air around me hums with tension, but it does not affect me. I am a machine, driven by purpose. I see an ally falter, and I am there in an instant, my fingers flying over the keys to cast healing spells without missing a beat. The relief on their face is brief, just a flicker before they turn back to the fray. My hands move fluidly from one task to another, warding off enemy creeps, casting crowd control spells, and maintaining vision in contested areas. Despite the chaos swirling around me, I am calm. Neoshash. Each moment feels like part of an endless loop, each action feeding into the next, without pause or thought. The adrenaline surges through my veins, but does not distract. It fuels me, sharpens my reflexes, and keeps me moving forward. Exhaustion tugs at the edges of my mind, a distant whisper that I ignore. There is too much to do, too many objectives to secure. Each successful action brings a brief sense of satisfaction, but it fades quickly as the next priority looms into view. My movements are seamless, switching effortlessly between support and attack without hesitation. The battlefield is a blur of colors and sounds, yet I remain detached, my mind focused on the task at hand. The urgency propels me forward, each action a part of a larger, unyielding rhythm. Despite the chaos around me, there adds an order to it all, a sense of duty that overrides fear or despair. I continue moving through the fray, my actions precise and efficient. Each successful spell cast feels like a small victory, but they are swiftly supplanted by the next necessary action. Or the battlefield is alive with conflict, yet I am steady and resolute, driven by an internal rhythm that guides me with cold precision. Things continue. Rush, that is sufficient. I move through the battlefield with fluid precision, my steps guided by a cold, unyielding rhythm. My eyes scan the area, identifying targets and allies without hesitation. A fallen comrade draws my attention briefly. I kneel beside them, assessing their condition swiftly. I activate a healing spell, channeling magic to mend wounds efficiently. The energy flows from me with practiced ease, restoring health points without delay. Standing back up, I scan the perimeter for threats and opportunities. My mind processes information rapidly, calculating the next course of action. A nearby enemy champion approaches, weapon raised. Reflexes kick in immediately. I dodge their initial strike, countering with a burst of magic that sends them reeling. The exchange is swift, my movements fluid and precise. As they stagger, I follow up with an immobilizing spell, pinning them in place. Switching to support mode, I turn towards another ally under attack. My spells weave through the air, hitting targets with surgical precision. A burst of energy shields a vulnerable teammate, absorbing incoming damage seamlessly. The shield dissipates as it reaches its limit. I replenish it instantly without pause, moving to engage in a skirmish between enemy and allied minions. My focus narrows sharply. Each blow lands with calculated accuracy, clearing the path efficiently. My weapon glows with magical energy, enhancing strikes and blocking attacks effortlessly. As combat subsides momentarily, I reassess the situation quickly. A strategic retreat by an ally signals an opportunity to regroup. I follow suit, maintaining distance from potential threats while staying vigilant for any resurgence of aggression. Reaching a safe area, I pause briefly to replenish resources. Healing potions and mana potions are consumed swiftly, restoring my strength and energy levels efficiently. No time is wasted. The routine is familiar, executed without question or delay. With renewed vigor, I prepare to re-engage the battlefield. My movements resume with the same cold precision, each action flowing into the next seamlessly. The rhythm remains unbroken, guiding me through the chaos of conflict with unwavering determination and efficiency. I heal the fallen, casting my spells with practiced ease. The battlefield churns around me, but I remain unbothered by its chaos. Allies move to safer positions as I provide cover, my magic a steady stream of support. Brief pauses for mana replenishment are routine, each sip of elixir familiar and necessary. Without pause, I rejoin the fray, moving through the motions with mechanical precision. Threats materialize, but my reflexes counter them swiftly. The cycle repeats without question, each action fluid and exact. Combat continues with a fluid precision. Spells arc through the air, intersecting and dispersing threats without hesitation. Reflexes guide my movements, each action calculated for maximum efficiency. Allies move around me, their forms blending into the backdrop of the battlefield. Obstructions shift as figures advance or retreat, but they hold no significance beyond their spatial impact. Enemies press forward, indistinguishable from one another in their relentless pursuit. Their actions disrupt my path momentarily, yet I adjust seamlessly, my focus unwavering on the task at hand. Replenishment is routine, a pause to realign and refuel. The world around me blurs into patterns of motion and stasis. Figures weave through the chaos, but they are mere elements in the intricate dance of combat. My spells find their targets with surgical accuracy, healing wounds and neutralizing threats without emotional attachment. Losses are noted only as shifts in the battlefield odds layout, recalibrating my strategies accordingly. The rhythm of battle remains constant, each moment a continuation of the last. The world moves in pieces, not people. Spells flow, replenishment occurs, reflexes engage. Healing and support continue, threats identified and countered. Allies move, enemies press, loss noted, strategy recalibrated. Routine pause for realignment, then re-entry into combat rhythm. Spells weave through air with precision, movements fluid yet purposeful. Turmoil remains external, internal state unwavering, focused on the next spell, casting with practiced ease. Reflexes guide my movements as I heal an ally, their health bar rising smoothly. The battlefield remains chaotic but irrelevant. Each action flows seamlessly into the next. Pausing briefly to replenish mana, a quick glance at the minimap confirms positions and strategies. Resuming combat without hesitation, spells weave through the air, striking with calculated precision. Allies move around me like choreographed dancers, their actions predictable yet necessary. Losses are noted, but do not disrupt my rhythm. Recalibrating tactics swiftly,